What's cracking with you people?
We are back.
19X here, and we just got done watching the third Pirates movie, Pirates of the Caribbean, at World's End. And so, for once again, for those of you keeping track at home, this is the last movie of Pirates that I have seen personally. Zay, you've seen
I've seen.
you've seen all of them.
I've seen all of them.
So, of the three that I have seen, this is by far the worst movie.
No, this is definitely the worst. Good Lord.
Would you like to air your grievances first before I get into mine?
Oh Lord, there was so much. I don't know where to begin, and that's the problem. The way I just said, I don't know where to begin. I don't know how to explain about this movie. They were going in different directions for me. Like they had. So what I mean is, you got you got four main characters, and you got four different stories in one main story. Like you got William Turner, who's supposed to be the good guy, now is doing some shady business behind and making deals with other people, and in order to save his father. And then you got what's the old girl's name again?
Elizabeth?
Thank you so much, Elizabeth, who is now in I guess in a love triangle with Jack, Will, and who's the last one? Give me his name. Give me his name.
Oh, you mean Norrington?
Yeah, Norrington.
That's
Yeah.
a square.
Yeah. Well.
I mean, they did hint in Dead Man's Chest that
Yeah.
she might have feelings for Jack.
Yeah.
But, okay.
Yeah, but then you got uh, Calypso and Davy Jones's, I guess, love story.
Yeah.
And then uh, yeah, that was about it. But still, it was about four stories in one.
And these the stories couldn't keep themselves straight to begin with.
No.
They would go off on these random tangents that just didn't have any connection to themselves other than just the fact that one character was in it.
Yeah, and I think and then one of the people in I guess in the Brotherhood when they had when they were having the dialogue talk with Elizabeth Swann on that boat, on that ship, that scene, that whole 5 to 10 minute scene, need to be cut out and dragged out. I did not understand the point of that.
The one with
Boo,
Boo or something like that? Okay,
Saya
I don't know.
Saya Boo. I'm gonna call you Saya Boo right now. But yeah, that whole 5 to 10 minute dialogue of that need to be cut out and ripped out. I thought it was unnecessary.
Honestly, in my opinion, the entire movie itself was really focusing on wrong things going forward.
Oh, it was. It definitely was. But I'll say this and then I'll let you talk. And then, like you said before, 1 and 2 focus on mainly on like the main subject. So, first one was about Barbosa and him getting rid of the curse,
Yeah.
and then Jack trying to sue Barbosa, and then also William Turner trying to save Elizabeth. But it all flowed well on that.
Yeah, and everything tied back to the goal.
Yeah, it did.
All tied back to the goal, and they touched upon certain philosophies and stuff with regards to piracy and what it meant to be. Like, once again, in the first movie, Will and Elizabeth are both naive in two separate directions about what it means to be a pirate.
Yeah.
For Elizabeth, she sees it as a big romantic thing. It's all fascinating, it's all exciting. For Will, it's something to be avoided. It is a terrible thing.
Yeah.
Nothing good comes from being a pirate. And then here's Jack basically letting them know it's both. It is a romantic notion, but it's also not as clean cut as you expect. You can't be a pirate and a good man. It's just that because we see the dichotomy with Barbosa and Jack. Barbosa's a pirate and a scumbag.
Yeah.
Jack is a pirate and a decent man.
Yeah.
And then Will's father was again pirate and a good man. They say that all the time. Dead Man's Chest comes around. It's all about getting the chest of Davy Jones, getting his heart.
Mhm.
So, and everything ties back into that. Jack wants to avoid getting dragged to the bottom of the sea. Elizabeth wants it to get Will back, and when she gets Will back, she doesn't need it anymore. So Will wants to get it to save his dad, and Norrington wants to get it back to get his old life back, and Davy Jones wants to stop people from getting his heart, understandably, because he understands what that implies. At World's End, the only thing that I can say for certain is that Beckett, the main antagonist, the villain of the series, I guess I don't even want to say that.
Yeah.
That might be overstated.
No, you're right. The whole entire movie, no, it was mainly him.
Yeah, for that movie, yeah, Beckett. For the entire series, that would be overstated.
Oh yeah.
All he wants is to bring the entire world under his command as the head of the East India Trading Company.
Yeah.
Currency is the currency of the realm. That's his whole thing. Jones, I don't know what the hell James Jones wants. The love story between him and Tia Dalma, that is great.
It is. That's great. I actually enjoyed that a whole lot more.
Yeah. Jack, I mean, Jack's been killed. You know, he got killed in Dead Man's Chest.
Yeah.
All he wants is the pearl. He has the pearl again. There's nothing really added. All he's really, I don't understand. At this point, I think they're trying to play up that he wants to be immortal. He wants to sail the seven seas for the rest of eternity. But he doesn't want to do Davy Jones's job.
Yeah.
That's the end figured into.
And honestly, I mean, like from what I got out of the whole entire movie from at World's End was like for Jack was, I think he was just the whole entire time he was trying to avoid going back into Davy Jones' locker.
Well, see, that's different though. That's the thing though. Davy Jones' locker is different from dying.
Okay.
That's at least how they explain it in the movie. I'm not going to get into it now. Because it's, as far as I understand, Davy Jones' locker, what Jones does is he sends you to another dimension where he drags your body and your soul there. What happened to Barbosa is he just straight up died.
Yeah, gotcha, yeah.
Definitely. And they touch upon like why can't you just bring them back or because Liz's father ends up dying in the movie. Spoiler alert, he dies off screen.
Yeah.
And Tia Dalma says she can't bring him back because he's at peace. So she can't do nothing about it. Will, once again, he wants to free his father, but that also conflicts with him wanting to marry Elizabeth because for some reason I don't fucking know. Barbosa, turns out he struck a deal with Calypso to bring him back, or at least when she brought him back, she struck a deal with him that while I brought you back, you will set me free because Tia Dalma is Calypso. She is the god of the sea. Which I believe Calypso is actually a Greek name of all things.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah. So, he almost in the bargain sets her free. I would detail more, but this movie goes into so many different directions that I just cannot be bothered.
No, because let me tell you how bad this was, guys.
We paused like 6 or 7 times to discuss how bad the movie was.
Yeah, but the main one I want to say is when we hit the middle mark for that time frame in this movie, Brad says, "Well, you know what? I would feel like cutting this off right now." I said, "Look, I don't blame you if we do, but I'm just letting it play in the background." That's literally what I said, because that's how bad it was. We was talking like you said about 6 or 7 times asking questions, because some things just was not making sense.
Yeah, some things were not clear. Some things you had to really imply, but I felt like they were needlessly cryptic.
Yeah.
My main problem with the movie is that the movie starts off on the mystery of how to get to Davy Jones' locker and how to get back, but I feel they are needlessly cryptic. And then the movie ends with, Will becoming the head of the Flying Dutchman, which I thought was a nice moment, but it was ultimately unneeded. What I thought they should have done is something they touched upon twice in this movie. And then they dropped after the 15 minutes they touched upon. And that is the fact that the Black Pearl is legitimately the fastest ship in the Caribbean. It is it can't outrun the Flying Dutchman. So my whole thing is, what we should have had, instead of this meandering plot that had all these moving parts that just didn't need to be there, should have been one plot. How do you get the heart of Davy Jones away from Cutler Beckett? And what does that entail? Do you get the heart and set Jones free, or do you stab the heart and somebody else becomes captain? Because they did hint at that in Dead Man's Chest. Yeah. I will not say they didn't, but they did hint that there was a catch to stabbing the heart in Dead Man's Chest.
Yeah.
Which, as you guys know from last week, we both thought was a fantastically written movie.
Yeah.
This is not that.
No.
But what I thought would have been better is, instead of having to do this convoluted plot with the pirate lords and all of that, what should have happened is that the pirate lords, sure, we should have been meeting a couple of them, not 9. I think maybe 4 or 5
Yeah.
big ones.
Yeah.
Keep it contained, keep it small for an ensemble
Yeah.
cast.
Because that, Lord Jesus.
Because they show up and do absolutely fucking nothing at the end of the movie.
Yeah, I'm so glad you said it. They really don't. And even when we meet them, they don't do anything.
But argue and throw
Yeah.
hands.
And here's the worst part about it too. The second time they're shown, it's just Barbosa. It's the Black Pearl and the Flying Dutchman. Everybody else is just sitting there.
Including the army that Beckett brings with him.
Oh yeah, man. I was like, really?
Like you could have done some CG where you showed these ships fighting in the background while the Black Pearl and the Dutchman are circling each other.
But they're just sitting there.
They're just sitting there.
Because Beckett has about, if I had to guess, about 20 or 30 ships behind me. And you're telling me out of all that, it comes down to just y'all two, the Flying Dutchman and the Black Pearl.
And don't tell me that Disney didn't have the money for it. At the time, the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise, and I think even still now, is one of the highest grossing franchises, period.
Oh, no, it is. It is.
Yeah.
But I am going to say it is, and I'm being honest. It's only big because of Johnny Depp.
Yes, I will agree with that.
And I'll go even deeper. Now, what I said is true, but I will also say for number 2, Johnny Depp and Davy Jones. Those two what make number 2 happen.
Those two stole the show.
And they didn't touch base on Davy Jones at all for number 2, and Johnny Depp sold that. It would have been Johnny Depp alone that sold that, but for number 2, it was mainly Davy Jones and Johnny Depp. But I'm saying, none of this is possible without that man.
Yeah.
But the way y'all went about this,
There's a reason why they shifted focus from Will and Elizabeth after the first movie to Jack Sparrow in the second one.
yeah, I'm glad
There's a reason why
I'm glad they did, cause I can already picture now. It would have been horrible if they didn't. Oh my God.
No, I would still say if it was still the same feeling and style they did for the first one, I would say it would not.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
But Will was the story wrapped up in the first movie.
No,
They needed someone else to focus on, and Jack was sitting right there.
Yeah.
I see no reason why not.
Yeah.
We don't know much about Jack,
No.
or the Black Pearl, or anything else. So it made a lot of sense to focus on him in the second movie.
Yes.
But the third one, so here's what I'm gonna do. Right, instead of summarizing why this movie is god awful, well, I would say god awful, but why it's so tonally disjointed, because once again, they make all these decisions like having Beckett kill off the Kraken. Why? That was a dumb move. Never should have done it. The only reason why they did it was to show that Beckett was a bastard. That was it.
Yeah.
That was it. That's the only reason why. You could have done that any number of ways. Kill off the Kraken, worst decision you made.
Yeah. But if y'all saw him in the second one, he already did that already. Like watching all as far as him being a dick and then being an asshole.
They're showing that he was a proper attacker.
Yeah. They showed that perfectly in number 2. So, like you said, I didn't see the reason in them killing the Kraken. I didn't. You could have used that to your advantage.
And even then, you didn't need to do the Kraken thing because you had at the top of the film him basically stripping people of their First Amendment rights and then hanging them by association.
Yeah, so
In mass.
okay, so I'm confused now then. So if that was the case in number 3, so why did you do that then? That doesn't make any sense then.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
They it's the same problem that happened with. So you've not played Halo.
No, but I've seen the show.
This is the show.
Okay, that's good.
In the game Halo, there is a character called the Prophet of Truth.
Okay.
Now he didn't get it as bad as Beckett did. Arguably he came out much better than Beckett did, and he's still an intimidating villain as a result.
Gotcha.
But he went from, and this might have something to do with the shift in perspective between 2 and 3. But in 2, he went from this calm, collected, very intelligent manipulator to this, well, I'll say in your face, but this more vocal,
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah.
more prevalent
Yeah.
villain that was kind of cartoony.
No.
Beckett went through the same thing here, but much worse.
No. Actually, he did, and I'm glad you said, because when the scene where he went on the Flying Dutchman's boat, and he was just yelling in his face, motherfucker. captain shall listen to its command. I'm like, okay, but you didn't do that in number 2. You were calm, civilized, but still were a dick.
Yeah.
You were a dick, but you were so calm and intelligent about it. Now you're just yelling.
Yeah, he was basically, he basically tried, I don't know why, but it feels like he tried to mix in Barbossa from the first movie in with him in the third movie. But that didn't make any sense because Barbossa was this flamboyant captain, pirate captain.
Yeah.
Becky's supposed to be this civilized paragon
Yeah.
of British society.
If they would have stuck with like the first one, like the first guy from the second one, and applied that same tactic in number 3 for Bennett, what's that?
Beckett.
Yeah, Beckett.
It would have been much
Yeah,
better.
it would be much better.
It would have solved all the problems.
Yeah,
It
no,
would've
no,
been
but
much
yeah,
better.
but it would make it much better because that Beckett would not have killed the Kraken.
He would have understood
Yeah.
the value of having that
Yeah.
as an asset.
Yeah, this one just like he just didn't care who he killed.
He made Davy Jones kill it just to prove that he was in charge of Davy
Yeah.
Jones. You didn't have to do that.
No, you didn't.
Davy Jones understands. You hold his heart. He's your bitch.
Yeah, and I would have thought Beckett would have at least would have done a different strategy and killed one of his men or several men to prove a point rather than kill him with the Kraken. I don't know. But
It just seemed weird. So what I'm gonna do now, and I know I've done this a couple of times, but this one I really want to do. I'm going to pitch a different at-world's end to you guys. Instead of focusing on all these extra aspects, have it be Beckett has Jones's heart.
okay.
Commodore Norrington, now Admiral Norrington, he's the admiral of Beckett's East India Trading Company fleet.
Okay.
We have Governor Swan, who's basically there, but he's there reluctantly, right? So right now we have one guy there eagerly, one guy there shackling against his will, and one guy there just to try to save his daughter. On the opposite side, we have Barbossa, Elizabeth, and Will, and Teodalma trying to bring Jack back to life because Teodalma let slip sometime in the movie that, and we could always use her for this. For all we know, she might have done this. We're gonna have a big reveal where she's the one who showed Jack the way to to the Black Pearl.
Yeah.
Because she understood that there was a ship at one time that could give the Flying Dutchman a run for his money, but it sunk long before Davy Jones did his thing. So maybe she tells Jack, because we find out in 2 that she told Jack how to get the compass.
Yeah.
So we have it be where she tells us, so it have to be where she has informed us that she let slip to Jack how to get the Black Pearl. Jack gets the Black Pearl. Now it turns out that the pirate lords are scrambling to escape Beckett's death grip on the ocean, and then by extension escape Davy Jones, who's basically at this point he's sickly, dying, that kind of stuff, because maybe we find out that controlling the Kraken takes a lot out of him, right?
Yeah.
So now there's a rush to save Jack because Jack has the pearl. So you can always have it be like Barbossa just wants the pearl, he doesn't care about Jack, but it's a package deal as it is presented in the story.
No, I got you. Yeah.
And by the time the story wraps up, we have the pirate lords coming together going, okay, these have gotten desperate. We do need to free Calypso. You can still have the love story where it turns out Davy Jones is the one who betrayed Calypso after she flaked on him one time.
Okay.
Despite that, you should know who your girl is, man. And he lets that slip. They let her go. She finds out that Davy Jones betrayed her, and then the movie ends somewhat the same way, but instead of Will becoming bound to the Flying Dutchman, the Dutchman just goes under.
Okay.
Either that, or maybe perhaps just as a continuation of the theme of the first movie,
Yeah.
that you could be a pirate and a good man. Maybe Jones does something to, if not earn redemption, instead. So it wouldn't be ironic just a fate if it's like, yeah, sure, Calypso, goddess of the sea, she wants him struck dead. Maybe he plays for forgiveness and she goes, okay, 100 years instead of once every 10 years.
That actually would be interesting.
So now he's got to wrestle with, oh shit,
Yeah.
And so now he's finally got his senses back. Maybe he's come back to life, maybe not. I don't know. But it would have been a much more interesting film, a much more personal film than this needlessly bloated epic we got.
Yeah.
And I say epic in the most sarcastic sense I can convey right now. Because once again, this was not a good sequel. This was a very, very bad follow-up and a very, very bad conclusion to Will Turner's story. Because make no mistake, the first 3 movies are still Will Turner's story. They are still, even though it doesn't feel like that, they are still his story. And it was a very poor wrap-up. Because what should have happened in this movie is, once again, character development. We see at the end of 2, and then throughout 2, that Elizabeth is becoming more and more a pirate. She's shaking her naivety a bit, but she's still in there.
Yeah.
So we have Jack being the straight, practical pirate who's beyond smart. Barbossa being, once again, the conniving pirate. And then we have Elizabeth who's slowly losing herself to piracy. And then we have Will being the middleman, because like you said, in this movie, for some reason, he's trying to be Jack Sparrow.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's trying to do that. Like, it's just like certain things he says that I'm like, why are you trying to act like Jack?
And granted, once again, at a point in the movie, Jack does tell Will, behave like me, you'll get it.
Yeah.
But
He didn't mean literally.
he didn't mean literally, and you were already doing it before that moment. It's like, what's going on here, you know? It's like, it's inconsistent characters.
Yeah,
I would say bad writing, but I don't even think it was any effort put in writing to begin with.
yeah. I just feel like for some of the people on that board meeting that they had at the place, I think some of them should have been removed, because I think you're just putting certain names in these movies just to put them on there, because it just some of these characters was pointless.
I'm gonna be honest with you, I think a lot of this movie's problem is that they sold it too much on Johnny Depp.
They
Think about how many times they had scenes where they had multiple Johnny Depps on screen.
Oh no, they did. No, they did. And like I said, for me, when the scene when he was in the Davy Jones locker,
Mhm.
I could understand why it did,
Yes.
why it wasn't said from my perspective, because again, he probably don't know what day it is, what time it is, and how long he's been there. All he knows is he's in Davy Jones locker with the Black Pearl, and he's talking to himself literally.
Yeah.
He's going crazy.
Yeah.
So from my perspective, I understood why it was necessary. But I can't understand on the other part that you mentioned, where they had like the multiple Johnny Depps on the part of Dutchman part, the visuals weren't that good. I can agree with that, yes.
Yeah, dude, the CG on that was terrible.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Except for the Johnny Depp that was meant to be like a part of his crew.
That one worked. Yeah.
But the other two, nah.
No.
But yeah, it's one of the things where it's like, at the end of the day,
Mm-hmm.
this movie needed to be more focused, and it didn't need to try too hard. And I mentioned this off camera, but I attribute, because this came out 2007, right?
Yes, correct, yes.
I attribute this movie, not fully, but this movie was a sign of what was to come for Hollywood. That they were going to throw as much of the screen to keep your attention as possible. Quality be damned.
Yeah, because even after that, like movies were going downhill.
Yeah.
And honestly, from my perspective, I think the only movie that I've seen lately that's actually done justice to itself and done a very good job is Sonic.
Yeah.
In my mind, that and Top Gun Maverick.
I've not seen any of those movies. So
Top Gun Maverick, Jesus Christ, it beat the first one. It was incredible.
Thanks, the first one.
The first one is good, but the second one is good. But just overall, those two are the only ones that I know of right now that did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, because with Sonic, again, I know it's a kids movie, and it still focused on like it had great character development. It wasn't all over the place trying to explain 2 or 3 different stories in one. It had a beginning, middle, and a plot, a situation, and the situation all came together. It worked.
I look forward to doing Sonic movies. I think Sonic the Hedgehog 2 comes out next month on Blu-ray.
Yes.
I already got mine pre-ordered, so once that period comes in, we will be watching Sonic 1 and 2, because as a massive Sonic nerd, I have a lot of stuff to talk about, especially with the Sonic Prime TV show coming out. Because if what I'm hearing is true, we're probably going to see another lawsuit, which might change the face of Sonic again.
Oh Lord.
But I don't think it'll be for the worse.
Okay.
That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
But once again, this is based on preliminary stuff.
Yeah.
Bit of tangent, I get it. But,
Yeah, but the whole point.
but those of you in the Sonic fandom, if you know,
You
you know.
If you know.
But anyway.
Yeah, but just my whole point, it's been years since they actually made a very good movie since the first two Prime movies. But yeah, I feel like I really feel like some Hollywood blockbuster movies needs to go back to the drawing board and watch these two movies, the first two Prime movies, and get an idea of how to do certain scenario or character development within movies.
Yes.
And make it better because it's just not doing well.
Yeah, it's trying to do too much
Yeah.
and doing nothing at the same time.
Yeah, and that's gonna make either like the audience not have
Yes.
any feel for it towards it or just fall asleep.
And I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah.
This is a trend that does happen. We're complaining about it now, but at one point this did happen in like the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And before that, it happened in like the 50s. So what happened? So what I and where I think is going to change, and I've noticed this trend as I've been going back and researching the history of entertainment, just comics, books, games, radio, TV, movies.
Yeah.
It usually starts with young children entertainment.
Well, of course.
And what I mean by that is, it doesn't start as in like this is where it's like it dumbed down. Like, yes, true. When young children entertainment, whatever kids are into, that's usually the trend that follows upwards. That they want to try to keep that audience's attention.
Yeah.
But usually when it snaps back to some actual decent quality, it starts with going back to basis on what it is to be entertained as a kid.
Yeah.
And what you would like to be entertained as a kid. So it would not surprise me within like the next 4 or 5 years, long time to wait, I know, but it wouldn't surprise me if we see more young adult content coming out that does challenge the modern perception.
Yeah, because I don't mind them doing that, but they have a habit of starting with that idea first, and then when they get progressively higher and higher on some blockbuster films, they always stick to that same narrative, and they don't enhance it. So, if you look at the old shows back in the day on Nickelodeon, like Invader Zim, Courage Cowardly Dog.
That was Cartoon Network.
I'm sorry, I mean just Nickelodeon.
But old school cartoons, yeah.
Courage Cowardly Dog, Giant Bravo,
Hey Arnold.
Yeah, Hey Arnold.
Jesus Christ.
If you look at those shows, they wasn't all over the place when they were doing these episodes.
Yeah.
They had an agenda for certain episodes. Courage Cowardly Dog had an agenda. It was simple. It was a simple idea.
Yeah.
You had two farmers, one dog, and then he was encountering multiple creatures.
Yeah.
And he had to find a way to save his family each episode, but it was different and it worked every single time.
Going off of that, there is a movie that we do need to watch involving Courage Cowardly Dog. It's Scooby-Doo and the Gang Meet Courage Cowardly Dog.
I've heard that, but I haven't.
I caught a bit of it while my brother and my nephews were watching a little bit. I didn't sit down and watch it because I just didn't have time to do it. I was doing something else that day.
Yeah.
But I saw it, I'm like, wait a minute, they doing this? And I'm like, wait a minute, why haven't they done this before?
Yeah.
So I wanted to see it because when I saw the Courage, because apparently from my understanding, Mystery Inc. goes to nowhere. So they go to Courage's area. Scooby-Doo meets Courage, Shaggy meets Courage, and those three have a very interesting dynamic from what I've seen.
Yeah.
And nowhere makes multiple references to the Courage Cowardly Dog show and everything that happened in there. So we do need to sit down and watch that at some point.
Yeah.
But what I'm getting at, well, I think, but tangent aside, I think what you're getting at is that back in the day, shows that were aimed at kids were also able to be watched by adults.
Yeah,
and they weren't afraid to take the risk to treat kids
and
like
that's
adults.
what I mean. And that's what I mean. Companies now are not taking risks.
They're not.
The only risks I've seen companies say are in games. Believe it or not, that's what I've seen.
Yes, and I think it's because games are a more interactive medium.
But you can still do that for movies though. like again, Blade was entertaining. The old Blade, what's his name? That was entertaining.
Okay, yeah.
Everybody loved that.
Yes.
And that was different. Seeing a black vigilante kill vampires and still be badass and all that.
Yeah.
That was something different. Now they're going backwards and making it PG-13 and all that stuff. Like I don't understand why they're going back.
And then the first Matrix, that
Yes.
going off that first Matrix, the whole central theme around that was, well, I mean, a lot of things could be interpreted from it,
Yeah.
but one of the big ones was that what if what is the American dream that we've been built up is nothing but a system of control?
Yeah.
And what does it mean to truly be happy within that, you know?
Yeah.
Original Star Wars trilogy. That
Yeah.
one was about faith and the rise of and the rise of Nazis.
Yeah.
Going off of that, Transformers, the old '80s cartoon, arguably was about a resource war between the Soviets.
Yeah.
Then you go a little bit more into that. You got Static Shock. That one was about what happened, about how a black teen, black teen
Yeah.
deals with having superpowers in an environment where he's essentially like, in or close to the ghetto. They had to invent an entire gang war that happened in Dakota that didn't happen in real life. And several other things, It's like they were not afraid to tackle these big issues, but nowadays I feel like companies, not even just with kids entertainment, but even to some extent with us, not older entertainment, but with us,
Yeah.
are trying to make something flashy and shiny, like it's like keys dangling in your face,
Yeah.
but they want to distract you enough to get you to buy things blindly.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, and now my suggestion is if y'all want to see the first 3 movies, you can. In my opinion, I wouldn't suggest watching the third one. It's just a waste of your time of 2 hours, but it still somewhat explains some answers from the second one. But overall, I wouldn't suggest watching it. In my opinion, but first 2, hands down.
As far as my suggestion is, only watch the third one if you don't like the idea that Jack dies.
Yeah.
That's the only reason to watch the third movie. I'm going to be 100% with you.
No, it's the truth.
Because even at the end of the movie, he ends with him losing his ship again.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why?
Who knows?
It would probably just be like, hey, one of our main characters, he doesn't get a happy ending. It's like, man, screw you. Man. It's like, if you want to have a joke ending, why not have the joke be where it's like Barbossa thinks he's going to get the ship again, and it turns out, no. That would be more hilarious.
Now, I'm not going to lie to you. That's when I first watched it, that's how I thought it was going to end. That's how I thought, because I thought, like I said, they were into it too. So in my mind, what thought was going to happen was, okay, Barbossa is sitting there with the rest of the crew drinking and everything while they're having like beer, smoking, pleasure, and all that stuff, and then something just pops in their head on the wall. Like, oh, Sparrow, and then it cuts to him on the Black Pearl Mountain. So yeah, or with Gibb or Mr. Gibb, whoever. But I'm just saying, just generally him, just drinking runs on, drink up me yo, and there.
Like have the series end the same way the first movie began, or at least the same tone the first movie hinted at.
Yeah.
Instead, you wanted to have a zinger at Jackson's Effect, and I get it. It's a kids movie, PG-13 kids movie, which is way different back in the day than it does now. But once again, it's one of those things where it's like you can have decently written movies. You can have your funny moments.
Yeah.
You can also have your serious moments. But you need to stop treating movies as another form of stock investment.
Yeah, because, oh Lord.
I mean, I get it. Shareholders, they're going to want to have their money. They're going to want to make it. But you guys need to understand that if you guys keep making stuff like this, you're going to see
you're going to drop.
You're not going to see a return on investment.
No, you're not. Because
you're not.
You are not.
And it will all have been entirely your fault, especially with the advent of the creator content.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, exactly.
Because more and more people are going to talk about it, because you're not going to be able to just buy all these reviews anymore.
I know.
People are going to at some point not become entirely dependent on YouTube revenue, or on sponsorship revenue, or on your revenue.
Yeah.
They will be able to branch out from there. Then you're gonna have other people making indie films, or short films, or just original content. I showed you one a few months back called The Back Rooms.
Yeah.
That one was based off of a old concept from like the 80s, and some dude said, I'm just gonna make something like this into a 20-minute thing. Now he's got like another 6 episodes to it.
Yeah.
And from my understanding, he's gone wild on it.
Yeah, and
So Hollywood, you don't have a lock on, you don't have a monopoly on
Yeah.
producing content anymore.
yeah, and what's crazy is I've seen short films. You know, like Love, Death and Robots.
Yeah.
Their short films have been way better than most blockbusters.
Yeah, and that was, and I think you told me that was done by the guy who did, well, the show itself was the brainchild of the guy who did Deadpool, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Now I'm sure he probably has some shareholders and whatnot in there, but I doubt it's enough.
No, but yeah.
I doubt it's enough for them to have full say over how the
Yeah,
show does.
but he just lets them do whatever the fuck they want to do.
Yeah.
So what I mean is like they create, well, no matter how crazy it is, it works, but it makes sense though.
Yeah. This is why I will, as much flack as I will give this company Nintendo for, is why I appreciate their approach when it comes to at one point niche IP like Xenoblade Chronicles. When they bought that company Monolith, they said, okay, here's a wad of cash. Make your game. We'll be back in a year and a half.
Yeah.
You better show us something. That's all they did.
Yeah.
Here's the money. We'll be back later. Sometimes you just gotta trust that your people know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And if they don't know what you're doing, here's what you do. You don't then hamstring everybody else. You put a closer watch on that
Yeah.
one person who
Yeah.
messed up
There you
until
go.
they prove that they can do right without it. You know.
There you go.
But that's not the lesson they take away from this.
Yeah. But just overall, yeah, it's not worth 2 hours and 28 minutes of your time though. Not in my opinion, but yeah.
Not in my opinion either. Not in my opinion either. Only watch at World's End if you don't like the idea of Jack just being dead at the end of Deathmatch Chest.
That's
And
it.
even then, watch it once and then never again.
Yeah, seriously.
Anyway, that's been it for Silver Screen today. I do not think we're going to be doing the next 2 Pirates movies after this. I think we need to take a little bit of a break.
Oh yeah, cause no, those are hard to watch, especially the next one. You're gonna need a drink for that one.
Yeah, and I've already had my fill last night.
Yeah.
So next week, we'll watch something. We'll do something else. I haven't decided exactly what it is yet.
Yeah.
But when we do,
Yeah, we'll let you know.
we'll let you know.
Yes.
At any,
Uh,
well,
Oh no, that was it. No, that was it.
at any rate, I've been an Aussie.
Yeah.
I've been X. You've been awesome. We'll catch you next week. Deuces.
Peace.